class because I think we get into a lot of different things that we may not think about on an everyday basis, and why our churches may not be growing, or why they might be growing. And it just brings all these things into my head that you start thinking about.
It just makes me think a little bit more as to, how can we help the church continue to grow, especially our young people. Our church has fewer young people there, and they need to hear God's word, and they need to know how to, share God's word and to move forward with God's word.
It gives me the ability to think about different ideas as far as church growth and so on.
I like the class because I get a chance to sit and stand around and talk to these guys that know so much more than I do.
I like the representation from area churches here that are participating. Gives you a different perspective, what they're doing, maybe something that works for them that, that we haven't tried or something like that.
Good evening. Hey, it's good to see you all. And oh yeah, does everybody have their new books? The new workbooks.
We all have a common purpose. We feel that we are saved by Christ. We have fallen in love with Christ. But the question is, how do we effectively share that? That's the purpose of the class and why I agreed to attend, and I'm very thankful and feel blessed that I have.
I think that this class could be valuable to anybody that has a love of Christ and wants to see their church grow.
As it says there, Tom Rainer and Eric Geiger define Simple Church as a congregation designed around a straightforward and strategic process that moves people through the stages of spiritual growth. What do you think? Is that how you define Simple Church?
I especially like when we do go into groups, because then I'm learning from other churches things that could help mine.
I see the real people telling us real things that are happening. I can read a book and, that's a church of 3,000 people doing that. How's my 75 people going to do that? But I hear that now with these other churches and talking with these other people, and it's very valuable.
This class is absolutely helping. We get to share, we're reading, we get to look at our assignments and follow through. It's not something that you just come here and you talk a little bit and leave and you say, this is what I'm learning, let's put it into practice. So yeah, it is helping me a lot.
In Simple Church, you read about some companies and how they became simple companies. So we're going to be taking a look at just one of those companies. There's Apple, there's Google, there's Papa John's. We're going to be looking at Southwest Airlines.
I know for me, having attended the classes, it's been neat in school, working on a degree in leadership. It's been neat to see the parallels between the church and the secular world, if you will, in terms of leadership and how that approaches.
Quick story. There was a gentleman in one of the churches I served previously who was a real history buff. And I don't believe that there's a pastor in the Susquehanna Conference that doesn't want to be a transformational leader. And there are classes that we've had as pastors and as clergy to help us to become transformational leaders. But we can have all of the classes and all of the training in the world, and if the folks sitting in the pews aren't on board with what it is that we're trying to accomplish, all that training's for naught.
And it is a lady-led revolution, or revitalization, however you want to say that. So they're there to try and revitalize their church and to support their pastors. They realize that it's a team effort. Even though this is going to be lady-led, the pastor is working with them, and they're going to try and get those conversations and things moving with their pastors.
They have to take ownership. of the change that they want to see in their church. No longer can this be a chaplain style of ministry. This has to be a laity-led movement and ministry out there if we're going to affect any type of change, and if we're going to make disciples for Jesus Christ, for the transformation of the world.
I think this class is going to make a difference for me personally. I think it's going to make a difference for our church. I think our focus has been too much inward on keeping the people in the church comfortable. And that may be what it was all about in the 50s, but not anymore. It's not about that. It's about reaching people for Christ. And we need to be outward. We need to move our ministry out to the people that need the love of Christ. And this class is going to help us, I think, do that.
Coming to an Equipping God's People training is a definite benefit for anybody who's thinking about it. If you're on the fence, just do it. I think you're going to take a lot of new things. Even if you think you know what it means to be a leader, if you've been a leader or if, been in those types of positions, I think you can really get a lot more about just learning ways to maintain that leadership, to stay fresh and excited about your leadership, and to help other people gain that same excitement about what they're going to be doing.
So it's not a matter of, do I have time for this? Am I busy? It's a matter of priority. And how can we advance the cause of Christ if we don't first consider Him a priority?